Are epics dead in 2025? Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to expand upon another video that I made a couple of days ago, but I feel like it's more relevant now because I just saw a video about an hour before I recorded this from Ash, who kind of answered the same thing. I got about through the intro of the video. I'm going to go back and finish it, but I got through the intro of the video and it was pretty clear where his side of the opinion was. And so I wanted to compose my thoughts and kind of address it from my point of view and just make sure that we are, fully understanding. So I haven't watched Ash's video, so if I repeat anything in the video, I'm not trying to steal anything from Ash. I just wanted to give my take on the subject because it's something that's been bothering me. It's been troubling me, right? So why don't we get to my answer and get to my thoughts on are epics dead? So it's not a black and white issue. It's a complicated issue. He said something in his video about how he thinks epics are good for players of all skill levels. Here's what I say. This is my full thought. Epics feel like rares felt 2 years ago for me, right? Like there used to be a time in Raid Shadow Legends where Cold Heart was your go-to for a lot of bosses in Raid Shadow Legends, right? There was a time where Kale was a huge carry in Raid Shadow Legends, right? Frozen Banshee is one, right? That she was in everybody's clan boss teams. Now there's reasons that you want to go with a rare because there is that quest that pops up every now and then, defeat the demon lord with a rare, right? But I feel like epics have now kind of fallen down that tier. Listen up, I just got a new promo link that you can use to follow along with me on my latest free-to-play adventure and get a free Elenaril as well as 3 more powerful epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Plarium and Play and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get Elenaril right after signing up, as well as Fayne, Uugo, and Tagoar as you progress through Raid. Click on my link right now and let's crush this together. And I made a video on this, but I want to say they are not dead. I think dead is far too harsh of a term. You will find places of value for epics. I made a video not that long ago where one of my clan members was building his Fire Knight team, and we built it with Neldor and Cryodan, right? And if you're not familiar with those two, they are epics. Cryodan having freeze on the A1, also bringing increased speed and freeze on the A2. And then Neldor is another epic who brings freeze on the A1, also decrease attack and accuracy and decrease speed, right? So they are a good combination to beat hard Fire Knight. It can be very gear reliant to be able to defeat stage 10 of hard Fire Knight with that team. I think in this particular case for that clan member, they basically did it just to get towards Marius, and then they were like, all right, I'll just go farm like stage 6 or something, right? Because stage 10 is just quite a challenge for a lot of players. So to say that, and by the way, that's not my only example. You have some really powerful epics in the game. One of the epics that never dies for me and hasn't died for a very, very long time is Uugo. And I know that I just talked about the new champion being the better Uugo, which is good. I want that. I've been wanting that. By the way, one champion that I want so bad and hasn't come out yet is a champion that gives decreased defense, block buffs, and weaken on the same ability, a fully upgraded version of Uugo's A2, right? So it does everything you need and can free up a slot so you don't need to bring an additional weaken champion. That is something that I really want. I'm sure there's probably a mythical that can do it and I'm just not familiar with them, but I always wanted a certain rebuild on Elenaril. What they ended up doing is they kept his kit the same, but I always wanted this to just flat out do decrease defense, weaken, and block buffs. I just want, I was like, don't just make him better Uugo and he hits hard. And then they gave us a non-void that does it. But I felt like a void legendary that was an upgraded Uugo would have been really cool. And I think they kind of missed the mark. Elil's buff is fine and all, but he's not, he's still not meta. right? Maybe they don't want to necessarily be meta, but, you know, I'm not losing matches to Elil as much as I am, you know, the horse and other champion and mythicals, right? So, but yeah, that's one. Those are two examples of epics that I think still very much have a place in Raid Shadow Legends. But there's one further still, and that is going to be, that's actually going to be Fayne. Now, I have a feeling most people are going to talk about Seer, or they're going to talk about Geomancer. Honestly, I feel like these are two champions who are pretty replaceable over time, right? Geomancer, there's a lot of better boss killers now, and the power scales have gone so far up that you can sometimes even out damage Geomancer with just straight damage dealers these days, right? If you've got a high enough blessing, if you've got a relic on them, if you've got reasonable gear, you can out damage Geomancer and not have to risk taking hits. That's the part that is the downside to Geomancer, is that you got to get hit for him to do damage, which is going to happen, but you don't want it to happen, right? Like, you want to minimize those hits coming in, so you just want to be fast, right? That's the name of the game. I made a whole video on that. So if the name of the game is fast, go first and not get hit and not take damage, Geomancer in that meta becomes a little bit weak. Is he still a powerhouse boss killer? Yeah, absolutely he is. But he's trumped by enemy max HP and 6-star blessing nukers at this point, right? So Geomancer is not one of my go-tos to kind of defend epics anymore. I think he's a great epic for development of the account. I would go crazy on a new account for Geomancer. And we've seen it in the free-to-play challenges where they pull Geomancer and then they shoot way out in front and use the power of the Geomancer to get higher clan boss scores, which means better rewards from clan boss, right? Get higher progression in other areas of the game boss wise, and we, you know, gain resources off that, right? So Geomancer's still a powerhouse of an epic. Love him, but I don't think he is as good as a lot of legendaries because of the power creep, right? And when I don't mean power creep like new legendaries coming out, I mean the fact that I can just build champions better than I've ever been able to build them, with extra stats coming in from blessings, extra stats coming in from relics, 9-piece sets in the accessories, right? Where we can throw in, you know, probably just, if you pick the right accessories, get another 20-30 speed, if not more, for really high gear. And, you know, even accuracy and things like that, leaving more room for damage. So those champions that used to rely on accuracy to do their damage now can do damage and still have high accuracy because you're able to get different pieces of gear on them. So I think that in those worlds, Geomancer just doesn't do as much in the end game as they do, but he's still a boss. He's still a powerhouse, and I don't want to take anything away from him. And it's very similar argument for me with Seer, right? I just made a video and I talked about how I took Seer out of my rotation for killing waves, right? Because it was just easier to put my best gear on PvP champions that could also just kill waves than it was to have dedicated gear on Seer just to kill waves, right? That was kind of the trade-off for me. But is Seer still the best, or at least one of the best damage dealers for wave-based content? Yeah, totally she is. Probably even still fine in arena too, just kind of falls off in the stone skin type meta area, right? So yeah, those two are not super crazy like arguments to be in favor of epics, but I think Fayne is one that can truly be in favor of epics, and that is going to be because we have an A1 with block revive. And remember, we are in a bit of a meta right now where lockout is big, right? A bunch of players got Alice, a bunch of players got Fabian, another lockout champion, right? These lockout champions, well, a great way to counter them is going to be really hard-hitting A1s. And who has one of the hardest-hitting A1s in the game? Fayne. And what else does he bring? Block revive. So that's actually one that I think is pretty good. Is this somebody you're going to see in high live arena meta? No, you're not going to see that. But it is somebody that in the right composition in regular arena can work around a lot of those teams, a lot of those champions, because he's just going to A1 people. Oh, I'm locked out. Oh, darn. You're dead and you can't be revived. And now you can't lock me out anymore. So we just survive and then, you know, we keep going, right? So that is one that really kind of comes to mind. But Fennex especially shines in a few different areas of the game. For me, certain rotations, and again, I say certain rotations because obviously he's not available in this rotation of Amius, but in certain rotations, great solution for Amius. One of the biggest frustrations for a lot of players is not necessarily killing Amius, it's killing him when he doesn't revive. But if you're able to kill him with a block revive ability like Fennex, which I do on a different strategy, made a video about him, great use against Amius. And of course there are certain bosses like the Ice Spider where if you can bring a Fennex, he can prevent that revive if you don't have additional ways. Obviously, like, well, I don't need block revive, I have Lydia now. It's like, well, oh yeah, okay, fine, just bring Lydia and it's not a problem, right? But sometimes you can't always fit Lydia into a team and so on and so forth, right? So I think Fennex is kind of another argument of me for epics. They're not dead, but their usefulness is less. It just is. It's the nature of how they increase the power. And +4 epics is a thing, and they still kind of fall flat compared to what legendaries have become. But I think that's okay. I think that a game like Raid Shadow Legends needs to move forward, right? So there was a time where we were having these arguments. Are rares dead? You know, like in 2022. Are rares dead in 2022? It was probably a video somewhere on YouTube, or 2023, right? Okay, 2022 is a stretch, but maybe 2024. I'm like realizing in my head what I'm saying a little bit more. I think that epics are in the spot that they need to be in. When you transition the power creep to a new tier, Mythicals, then everything kind of slides down in power, right? So before Mythicals, we had legendaries as the high end, then we had epics, then rares, right? Makes sense, right? Epics filled a lot of voids on rosters back then. Oh, you don't have a good support. Okay, well, here's Rector Drath. Here's Ursula. You know, Ursula was a huge carry on my free-to-play, if you guys remember that series, that long-running free-to-play series. Here's Doom Priest as an awesome cleanser and healer, potentially, right? And of course, Lady Annabelle, another one I forgot, who is a powerhouse for Bommel specifically, one of the best Bommel champions out there. And then I can't even believe I almost forgot about Godseeker Aniri. Godseeker Aniri enables so many compositions in the game for different fights, different bosses. She was my main support on my free-to-play account. Love Godseeker Aniri. I think she's still very, very valid in today's meta, right? A lot of people use her in Sand Devil, plain and simple. So to say the word dead is a big stretch, but they aren't what they used to be. And that's fair. We can acknowledge that. I think that's okay. I don't think it's a bad thing that epics are where they are at. I think epics are where they should be. When you add an entire other tier of power, epics are going to fall off. It's just the nature of things. The same way that rares fall off. But you can still find a use for them too, right? I have an all rare Shogun team. I talk about it all the time. It's a great team. Love the team. And I'm not going to switch off of that team anytime soon, right? So, I don't know. I wanted to touch on it. I just wanted to give my comments on it. Like, I understand in my previous video, context matters. And you will probably get to a point where you're just using epics as very, very niche, fulfilling roles, right? Like, they're not going to be your main cast of characters and your main resource for boss killing and this and wave clearing and whatever, I do think that everyone's account will get to a point like that. And I kind of feel like that's how it should be. I mean, it's a hero collector game. We want to collect them. We want to be powerful. We want to build our teams to where we don't need epics and we don't need rares. So, you know, I think it's okay. I think it's fine. And, you know, those are my thoughts. So epics, are they dead? No, they're not dead. Are they down to that kind of like niche fulfilling like only certain roles? Yeah, I would say they're kind of down to that for the end game. Obviously, and if I haven't made this clear enough, early game, mid game, epics are your lifeblood, man. I would not have the roster that I have if not for epics to help me complete fusions. If not for epics to help me get to kill Hydra, right? And get a Mithrala. And for epics to get me through faction wars so I can get a Lydia. And epics to get me my Arbiter, etc., 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 right? It's just like you use them to get to the next tier, and then, okay, cool, now I'm rocking with all legendaries. You know, these are more important to me, and then now it's like, now I'm using my legendaries and some of the mythicals I have to work towards getting more mythicals, right? I've been talking about that. That's a big thing for me. I want primal shards. That's my primary goal, is to try and complete tournaments, missions, stuff like that that will get me a chance at primal materials. I feel like I got primals from something recently. Couldn't tell you what it was at this point in time, but yeah, getting primal shards, getting the materials for primal shards, that is a priority for me at this point, because that's what's important at this point, and that's what's brought the value of ancient shards down. Void shards have held on to their value because void legendaries are still really good. I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we would ever say like, are legendaries still good in 2020 or in 2030, right? I don't think we'll ever get to that point, because you're still going to have those really dominant legendaries like the newts and the horses. By the way, when I say horse, I mean Marius. Stuff like that, right? So I don't think we'll ever get to that point. Even when void mythicals get introduced, I don't think we get to that point. But, you know, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts. Maybe I'll do a video responding to your comments. So go ahead and leave one for me. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. It's the best way to support the channel. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care.